Well, every now and then we like to take a Sunday and find out what's going on amongst some of the missions opportunities that we celebrate and participate in at the church. And so, since John and Kimberly are getting ready to leave on another trip to Uganda, and Coral is getting ready to leave in August down to Ensenada, Mexico, we thought we'd just get them both together on the same Sunday and give them both an opportunity to share with us what is going on in their ministries, to give you guys an update. And these aren't the only ones that our church is involved with, but they're the ones that we have people here that are actually part of our fellowship, and so we're engaged with them. So it's always nice to know what the Lord is doing in their areas of ministry. And if you pay attention on Facebook, you certainly see what's going on in John and Kimberly's ministry, especially when they're gone. They just are posting every day. Kimberly is especially good with that. John is, okay. So anyways, let's first of all start off by having Coral come up, and she's going to come and share with us about Ensenada Christian Ministries. Those of you that know Coral, probably know a little bit about this, but she'll give us a little kind of an update on what's going on.
Well, first of all, I want to say I am so excited. I'm not going to be the only one from our church going to Ensenada Christian Ministries this summer. Tiffany Goebel, helping do the worship, she's going with us. And we are so grateful to have a young person going with us, a young mom, and a person who speaks Spanish so well. Less than half of our team actually speaks Spanish. So what a blessing it will be to have Tiffany come with us this summer. So I am very, very excited. Well, what Ensenada Christian Ministries is that Tiffany and I will be involved in is a scholarship program to help poor children get to go to school. Ensenada Christian Ministries has 4 little mission stations. Well, one isn't very little. And children can qualify for this scholarship by attending one of these 4 mission stations. And it's a weekly program of Bible stories and Bible lessons, and then so that each week they come, and then in a few months they can qualify for this small donation. It's really amazing that, every year it seems like costs go up, but we give the children a scholarship of $60 for kindergarten through 6th grade, $110 for kids 7th through 12th. And it just helps get their uniform, their shoes. In Mexico, you have to have a uniform or you cannot go to school. So these poor farm worker kids or inner city kids, if they can't afford a uniform, they're not allowed in school. And now the high schools, most of the high schools even have to pay tuition. So this is just a help. It does not cover everything, but it's a neat way that we can encourage some children to stay in school. And so next, last summer, this is a picture of our team. We have the missionary gal who's been a missionary in the Ensenada area for 34 years. She's sitting in the front. And then next to her is my favorite man in Mexico, Juan. I have known him for about 20 years. I first went down to build houses with a group of women, and he was our teammate with the missionary to help us learn how to build these houses. And now his son, who's standing in the back, is also part of the program. Since Juan is not able to get around much, lots of problems with diabetes, so his son is really a huge help to us now. And then I'm standing next to Juan Jr., and I'm in the kind of the Hawaiian dress. And then there's 4 of us who are all the same age, and one that's 2 years older. So you can see why we are excited to have a younger woman come with us. Yes. And one gal, she and I were born on the same day in the same hospital. And we found that out when we went on the house build together almost 20 years ago. So we are sisters in more ways than one. So it's just a neat bunch of women and our couple of guys that help with this ministry to do the official paperwork type stuff. And then we have some others in Mexico. You'll see some others. Next picture. This is just a picture of a kind of a 3rd generation of a mom and her daughter and then her children that are involved, and they help with the program too. One of them is both the mom and the grandma help teaching children. Next. And we're just going to kind of run through some of these. This is showing the uniforms of different age levels. We give them their scholarship money. They go out and buy their uniform, and then they come back and we take their picture the next week. So next. So this is like grade school age, and it seems like every school has a little different requirements, and if a child moves to a different school area, they have to get a different uniform. Next. And then junior high, and next. And high school, and then they have technical schools too. Some of their high schools are technical schools, and they have different uniforms for that, a shirt with their name on it or something. So it's just a different variety of uniforms they have, plus they have to have a gym uniform. So it's quite a bit. Plus they have to have certain school supplies. So it is quite an expense for families. Next. Oh, one of our wonderful success stories. These 4 young people have, 2 of them have already graduated from university and have jobs. One of them is a civil engineer, Rosio on the, I don't know my left or my right, especially looking at you, over that way. She is a civil engineer working for the government now, and she's also one of the teachers for Sunday school at the New Hope Church. And so all 3 the others they're finishing up their education. The missionary found this family when it was just one of the children. He was like 18 months old, but was like a 9-month-old in size from lack of nutrition. And the missionary helped this little lady get food for her child, and then she married a pastor for a while, and they had these children, and then he died. And so through the years, this mom, even though she doesn't read or write, she has encouraged her kids to be faithful in church, faithful in school, and she's got 4 kids finishing university, and all we've done is just help a little each year to get them through. So this has just been a very exciting thing, and we hope to see many more success stories like this family. Okay, next. One of the places that we give out scholarships is at the New Hope Church, and this is where the missionary, this is the only church that meets on Sunday that they have. Some of the other things are different days of the week, but the New Hope Church meets on Sundays, and then they have ministries on Wednesdays and Saturdays as well for the youth and for the children. We gave out about, it says 59 scholarships there. And again, we give them their scholarship, they go shopping, and then they have to come back and give us their receipts so we know they used the money the way we would want them to with their school uniforms or supplies. And then we take a picture of them in their uniform. Okay, next. This is a picture of the little church. It's a 2-story church. The children are down below, And it certainly wouldn't qualify for OSHA type things. You got to see the stairs going up the back for the grown-ups. Last year I helped a little lady get all the way up the stairs. Scary. Okay, next. And this is the neighborhood of the area. It's quite very, very dry in this area, and just little houses. Next. Here's some of the children. The one family on the side towards me is one that we really pray for. The two little girls there, and they're not the only children in the family, but the two little girls there live with their grandma. Both of their moms are prostitutes, and they have not heard from them in about 2 years. So they do not know what has happened to their mothers. So a really sad situation, and it's not uncommon in this part of Ensenada. Okay, next. And the Paradise Mission. Such a funny name for that area. When we first started working up in Paraíso or Paradise, it's nothing but a dust bowl up above a little town called Maniadero. It's south of Ensenada. And now it is full of houses. I think the first time I was there when we built a house, there was like 4 houses in the area. Now it's full of houses, full of people, and it's quite a ways up on this hill. Next, please. And this is the biggest mission group. There are, each Monday, they do their ministry on Mondays. Each Monday, there's like 150 to 250 children in the one building, the 2-story building, and their moms are in the sanctuary. You know, those, I see Bridget like cringing. As a teacher, you know, it's like, whoa, how do you do that? And to try to teach, you know, a story and do something, it's quite a challenge. But these ladies are very faithful, and the children come to learn. It's quite a sight to see them coming out of that building. And then each Monday, they provide food for these people, a little bag of food. They give the kids some fruit. So it's every Monday. It's such a huge ministry up there. And now they have someone that's helping the pastor up there who plays flute, and he plays guitar. He sings really well, and he's actually starting to work with the kids to have some music lessons. So it's very exciting. So that one is our biggest. We gave about 250 scholarships there last year from grade school through high school. And this is a couple of pictures of the neighborhood. Next. Okay, next. And here's a little school in that area that the kids can go to. You know, we help them just be able to go to the public school. And so this is one of the little schools right there in Paradise. Most of the kids have to go down this huge, huge hill to go to school, but there is one little grade school up there. Okay, next. Here's one of the workers, the lady there in the front. We helped build, we built a house for her and her parents when she was like 14. And now she's a mom with 4 children. And a huge help up there in Paradise. And then the older gentleman is such a faithful man. Every Monday he comes from Ensenada with the team and helps at the mission. And that's his grandson behind him. Okay, next. Francisco's Bible Study is a small group that meets in these people's home. And go ahead and do the next picture, please. Francisco is now in his 20s. He started a Bible study. He started a Bible study in his home when he was 9 years old. He had become a Christian through Ensenada Christian Ministries, and he wanted the neighborhood kids to learn about Jesus. So he started a Bible study, and so every Saturday he would have them come. And now his mom has taken over now that he is off working most of the time. So Felicitas has a group every Saturday that comes to their home. So this is one of our smaller groups, but such a delightful group of kids. Next. And this is kind of their neighborhood, a very poor neighborhood also. Next. And this is a picture right outside Felicitas' house between, lovely view. Okay, next. And some of the little kids from their mission. Next. Leche Meal. This one is such an interesting group. Josefina hosts this Leche Meal, which means milk and honey. She feeds the neighborhood kids 6 days a week so that they have a meal before they go to school. And then on Saturdays, they have breakfast together and have a Bible study. So she has quite a few kids. I believe, 79 this year. So lots of kids that come, probably not every week there's that many. Can you imagine having 79 children at breakfast every morning? I'm sure, there's 50 or so probably every morning coming for breakfast. So this is a wonderful ministry to the neighbor kids, and they learn about the Lord also. Next. And this is just a picture of their neighborhood. Next. And this is a picture of when we're giving out the scholarships. I love it when we're there at Josefina's. She puts a tarp up to give us shade over their little patio. Okay. Yeah, it's really nice. And at this group, they are so far out of town that we often fill up the van with as many as we can get in after we've given the scholarships, and then take them downtown Ensenada to look for their shopping, and then they pay 10 pesos or whatever it is to take the bus home. But we had our 5 of us team members, and I think 20-some children and parents in that van. I took a video of them getting out, and it was like, you'd think that they were coming from around, coming around. It was so funny. But it's a fun time to drive down. This is my friend Nancy, who was born the same day I was. Okay, next. And so there are some of you that already are supporting this ministry, and one of the things that one of the reasons I got involved in it to begin with is it's a once-a-year thing. It's not like monthly having to write out a check or something. This is once a year helping a kid or kids get to go to school. So if you are interested, please come see me. I've got real simple little form, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to be able to help a kid or kids get to go to school. And those of you who have done this in the past, I got my renewal yesterday, so you should be getting yours in the mail too. It's just a wonderful way and a simple way to make a difference in a kid's life. So I thank you for listening, and if you're interested in helping out, please come and see me afterwards.
Just thinking about that 9-year-old that started a Bible study. Francisco was his name, right? It reminds me of me when I first started out. I wasn't 9 years old, but I wanted to teach the Word almost immediately after I really started walking with the Lord. And, it's funny because, so many of the younger guys, all of us, when we first started out, we were just one step ahead of the people that we were teaching in terms of our knowledge of the scriptures and so forth, But God uses that. If you have a desire to serve the Lord and your heart is right before Him, then He'll use that, and He'll be a blessing. And it's great to see what God has done over these years with you guys. So, again, I commend them to you, and if you just no guilt or anything, but maybe some of you are just been praying about, Lord, what should we do? We have a little extra here and we want to use it for something. This would be a good opportunity for you. Okay, let's have John and Kimberly come up because they're also a good opportunity and worthy of your support.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's
Okay.
that? Okay.
Can we see the first slide there? Brent? This is a Google Maps overview of what's going on with us over there in Nyabisoto in Uganda. And incidentally, this is Kimberly and I's 15th year. We're having our anniversary. I just kind of realized that last night. Not here. We've been here since 2011. But you can see the school buildings, and the kind of the big one down there is the learning center, the big roof, and then the teacher housing and where we stay are up the hill. What you can't really see from this is that it is kind of the side of a mountain. So we do have some issues with rainwater and different things like that. Okay, next picture. So that was my view. Now Kimberly's view of Nyabisoto and what goes on there. I get involved with the kids a little bit too, but she's like 100% involved with these guys. Next one. And this is a view of the village around Nyabisoto. So think some of the things that you see every day, and she'll get into kind of what we're doing there and how we reach out to people too. Next one. And then at the school. And I find it interesting that in Mexico they require uniforms. Well, all the schools in Uganda as well require uniforms as well. So you have to have a uniform for your school and a school badge and different requirements and things of that nature. So lots of places around the world are like that, exactly like that. So next slide.
So this is one of the classrooms. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, so I just wanted to kind of show you. It's got a bunch of wooden desks. The floor is cement. It's always really dirty in there because some kids walk miles to get to school, and there's no paved roads. It's all dirt. So they bring a lot of dirt in every day. Every day they have to sweep, and on Fridays they pull the desks out or they move them to one side, and they get a bucket and they wash out the rooms. So the next slide is of the Learning Center, and I got to set this up on our last trip, and it was so exciting. Look at the floor, how clean it is.
That's because it's porcelain tile.
Yeah. So every child has to wash before they come in. They have to wash their legs, their hands, their face. They come in clean. And it's so fun because there's rugs in the background where the little kids are sitting. A lot of them have never been on a rug before. They love it. And even the tile, a lot of them have never been on tile, so they like to lay on it and roll around and feel it with their hands, slide on it in their socks. And we got those tables and chairs in town, and it's so brightly colored. And if you see on the walls, we got some painter to come, and he painted such marvelous things. I love the Learning Center. And so the next slide, behind what you saw, there's a bunch of tables set up, so we can bring classrooms in more than one classroom. And have you guys heard of Kiwi crates? Somebody gave me a bunch of those, and it's where, as a group, kids can sit down and they have to follow instructions. They have to look at their list of items, and then they have to build whatever's there. So it's really good for them to read English and to follow directions. So this is groups of kids figuring that out. So the next one, these kids made kites, these boys, and they were super excited. They were running back and forth, dragging them in the Learning Center in their socks, sliding. And then the next one, this was a littler kids table. They were doing matching numbers. And the next one is videos. So I got a couple of videos that he'll put on, and then I can explain them to you. Except there's no sound. is our school nurse. She's showing them how to give a shot. I got her a little doll set that's a doctor. So she's got a little bed, and the doll's giving the other doll a little shot and the keister.
And she is really the school nurse. She really is the school nurse.
So she's explained to him, this is what happens. Maybe if you come to my office, there's nothing to be afraid of.
So I'm going to give you medicine. I'm going to do what? I'm going to give you medicine.
They weren't buying it though.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever got medicine in the buckets? Who has ever got?
One of the little kids does not want to get the test shot.
No one. Yes, so today I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you how they do it. Yeah? It's not training. You feel it? You feel it?
She's asking for volunteers.
See? Easy.
Okay, Brent, that's
You can stop it. So she goes around, she gives everybody a shot. She did that for all the preschool classes, and it was cute. And then the next one is this group of girls, they made a golf set with their kiwi crate. So they've never golfed before. They didn't know what it was. See how clean it is? It makes me so happy. Yeah.
yes. Well, no, not for the very little kids. They do both. They begin learning English, words, colors, cows and whatever. But when they get up into the older classrooms, yeah, it's all in English.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Brent, back to the slides. Next slide. So this is the girls' dormitory, and this is what we've been working on now for several months, and that's our big project for this year. Now,
Isn't it beautiful?
some of my guys have been, doing some plumbing, and we've been storing things in there, so don't look at the floor. But it will clean up nice because it also is a tile floor. But if you'll notice some of the pictures that have been painted on the walls in there. And we're working on an entire compound for the girls. So next picture. And this is Elizabeth. She works in the office. So she's kind of our office manager. And Kimberly just wanted to have her in there with along one of the walls to show you some of the pictures. And they're calling this, what are you calling this dorm here?
The garden house.
Garden house. Okay, next picture. And not only that, but we also had him paint a bunch of different scripture verses around the facility, and also some of the people that have sponsored this also have some sayings or favorite verses from families and things like that of people that have gotten involved with that. Next picture. Okay, it is the garden house, and even to the point of the paint beds. So we're getting to the point now of getting mattresses and getting all the things that go on the inside of this and getting those things ready. And of course, our goal is that next year we're praying that all these beds will be full of kids, full of girls coming and staying out here as we become not just a day school, but a boarding school as well. And our goal is to have kids come from Kampala, from families that can afford to send their kids to a private boarding school. And we do follow the Ugandan curriculum, but we're also a Christian school on top of that. So we bolt on our piece of it too. And one of our goals is to get enough kids coming from the city with parents that can afford to send their kids to school to also cover costs for any of the at-risk kids that we have in the village, the ones that are really bad off or come from a really bad home situation. And we do have several of those right now, and we can help them a bit. But if we could get those kids in school and have them full-time, we can make sure that they get food all the time and they're taken care of and things like that.
We try to keep our fees in the village very low. We do have fees because it's super important to make sure that the parents are contributing to their child's education. But our fees are half as much as they are anywhere else. So by bringing these girls into the dorm that can afford to pay, it'll help cover those costs. That way we can keep it really cheap for the village. And the
Okay,
beds are pink.
next. Okay, English classes.
Okay, so one thing I did on my last trip that I'm also doing on this trip is I took a bunch of praise and worship music and printed out all the lyrics and used it as an English class. That was so fun. We did, any words they didn't know was their vocabulary word for the week, and they had to learn it and use it in a sentence. And once they knew all the words and could pronounce all the words, then I turned the music on, and they were surprised that, they were learning a song because they didn't know it the first one. And they love music there. Ugandans are all about music. So it was so much fun seeing them learn it and then getting into it. And it was fun also to see them realize when they were singing the words what the words meant and have it mean something personal for them. So we got a couple videos of the class. That's Blessing, isn't she cute? I love her. And then another class, I looked out the window and the kid that was doing the grass was dancing. I caught him and then he was embarrassed.
And yes, that's how kids cut grass at their own school. Just turn them loose, a bunch of third graders with machetes and slashers. Wouldn't happen here, I'm thinking.
We were laughing about that. Also, that I had a couple of the first grade class and the preschool classes come in and they get out their razor blades and they start sharpening their pencils. And then one day there was all this smoke in the bathroom, and I went over and I'm like, what is going on? And the kids had taken all of these banana leaves that were dried. And then another kid, maybe second grade, he goes and he gets a big shovel full of live hot coals from the kitchen. And then kids would hold the banana leaves and they would pour some coals on there until it started a fire, and then they'd carry it in and put it in the toilet. And I'm like, what are they doing? And she said, they're smoking the toilets. And I said, why? And apparently it's to get the smell out or
Kills the bugs, too.
kills whatever, I don't know. But it was hilarious, all these little kids. And I was like, this would never happen in the United States.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me when you bring people from here over there for the first time, and we're sort of immune to it now. We don't even notice it, and they're all like, what are these kids doing with these big knives? And what?
Then there was other boys, and there was a huge pit. It was like maybe 6 feet deep. And the kids that were slashing the grass would bring the grass clippings and throw them down this pit. So all these boys are sitting around the pit. And then one of them jumps down in there and lights them on fire. And then they're all sitting around the fire. I mean, if any of them would have fell in the pit,
Wouldn't have been good.
it wouldn't have been good. But anyway, that's Uganda. Okay, so the next picture is Grandma Maria. She's my favorite person in Uganda. And when I'm there, I do tend to write a lot. I need my glasses. So I'm going to write you a couple stories of going to visit Grandma Maria. She's 93 this year. So this is just how I write my rambling. Grandma Maria was sitting in her doorway when we rounded the corner to go up to her house. She started clapping as soon as she saw us. I gave her a big hug. I held her face in my hands and told her that I loved her face and that it made me happy. She laughed. We asked how her week has been. She said that she'd been drinking more water like I told her to and that she felt better. I could tell. Our director had not been to see her in a while. He told her that every time he comes to Nabisoto, he asks people how she is doing. Maria told him she didn't want him to inquire about her health. She wanted him to come and visit so they could call upon the Lord together. She is the sweetest. I took Maria some cookies. We opened a package. She giggled and thanked us, then started munching. I also took her a photo. The photo was of Maria, her daughter Scovia, her granddaughter Blessing, that little one that was dancing, and me. She carefully looked at each one of us and grinned. We put the photo up on her wall with the rest that I've given her. She complained again that I took so many photos, yet I gave her so few. She cracks me up. Maria commented that she gets sick sometimes and thinks she is going to die, but God spares her life. She said that she thinks that God must love her very much. She told us that she talks to God all the time now, and that maybe he is getting tired of her. Our director told her that he will never get tired of her. He asked if Maria gets happy when she knows I'm coming to visit. She said that she does. He said that God is also happy when Maria visits with him. We left her there on her doorstep. I wish I could put her in my suitcase and take her home. That was one visit. It's my favorite thing to go down to her house. This is another one. It's the next picture. Grandma Maria was asleep in her doorway. She looked like an angel, all peaceful. I don't know how she can sleep on cement and not be hurting. I snuck up and took her picture before I woke her. She raised her head, looked at me, and giggled. We went in and helped her to sit up. We greeted each other. She asked where the other girl was. She meant Stephanie. We told her that Stephanie had gone home. We talked about the rain and how bad it's been. I told her that I wanted to come more often, but the rain kept me at home. She asked if I really wanted to see her more often, and I told her of course. She said that she knew that and smiled. I asked her if she'd been eating. She said yes, that she had Matoki bananas and peanut sauce for lunch. We asked her if she enjoyed it. She said she always enjoys it because she doesn't want to put any pressure on her daughter, the cook. She's so sweet. I asked her if she had any visitors. She said just her granddaughters and her sons had come. I'm happy about that. She said that one lives in Basunju, and she said that one sat on the mat in the corner, and she pointed out the mat. She said that when she's sleeping, she sometimes wakes up because her back hurts and she has head pain. She said that sometimes she wakes up crying. That breaks my heart. She said that we could pray for her and maybe she would get better, and then she would come and check on us. She repeated that. Yes, she would come and check on us. I love that lady. I put on some music videos, and Maria stared intently at the screen. She clapped to the music, and in between songs, she would grab my hand and say thank you. After about a half an hour, she asked if we could come back on Tuesday and show them again to her daughter, Scovia. I reminded her that I was leaving, but I'd be back in 6 weeks to see her. She still wanted me to come on Tuesday. Liz and I held Grandma Maria's hands and we prayed for her. Afterwards, she insisted that we go find her daughter Scovia and pray for her too. She sure has her daughter on her mind tonight. We told her that we would. I hugged her goodbye and she hugged me tight. I told her that I loved her, and she said that she knew and that she loved me too. It's a great feeling to know that you are loved by Grandma Maria. Isn't she the sweetest?
Okay. Next slide. Oh, and incidentally, those are some of the things that if you follow Kimberly on Facebook, she blogs just about every day. And if she doesn't, it's because I've dragged her off to town or something to buy some parts somewhere. Well, they were talking to me this year about doing a shoe fundraiser, and my first inclination was, we've got so much on our plate this year, and I said, I don't really want to do that. But Kimberly put the word out on social media and said, hey, we've got some kids that really need some shoes. And so one of the things was she went to different classrooms, and said, hey, how many of you kids need shoes? Who has good shoes? Or show us, what you've got. And every kid, basically, in the school needed shoes. So we did I should say Kimberly did, and a couple of gals that helped us did a shoe fundraiser online and actually raised enough money to get 160 students shoes. And so we have that money. That's not insignificant. It was about, how much was that?
I don't know,
We needed
$4,000
about,
or something?
yeah, somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000. And so for the school shoes, they have specific kinds, and these are not, the one on the left kind of is, the one on on the right is not. And so they're really supposed to have like a black type of a shoe, patent leather and things like that. So basically every kid needed shoes, and now we've got the money. We've made arrangements with Bata. They're going to come out to the village. When we go back, they're going to measure every kid's foot, and then when they go back to town, bring out enough shoes to fulfill the order. So we'll have a big day where all the kids wind up getting shoes that are in the school. Next one.
Oh, this is the video of the kids praying for new shoes. Aren't they so cute?
So they do a thing at school where they have a parade, and so every class has to be lined up in their classes with their teachers out on the volleyball court. So that's how they organize things and little kids stuff. Okay, Kimberly, next thing.
Okay, what's happening this summer? Same thing, I'm going to do a lot of English classes. We're going to be in the Learning Center a lot. We've got 5 people coming, and so they're going to help in the Learning Center. I got some microscopes, which is going to be huge because, they've never seen one before and don't even know what one does. And some bug catchers and a lot of really cool stuff. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that and talk about design and how God designed everything and how sometimes you only see what you can with your human eye, but God put so much detail in the world. So I'm really excited to do that. We're going to have math goals for the whole school this year. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the dormitory and make it look really pretty and then take pictures and make a flyer. We're going to figure out the cost, like how much is it going to cost to feed everybody, have a matron there, all that stuff. Also, once we get all that figured out, then we'll be able to open next year. John's going to do whatever he does, all that stuff to make it all run and work.
Usually I'm kind of behind the camera. You don't see a lot of pictures of me over there, but we do spend a lot of time working on infrastructure type things. So stuff to take care of, water comes from A, goes to B, we need to get rid of it. How do we do that? Or we need lights over here, how do we do that? We need more water. So we actually had done some fundraising. I think we're almost 100% there on putting in a new well. We're calling it for agricultural purposes, so they don't try to, sell me one of the borehole pumps. So I'm an electric well. So we've got a lot of things to think about and try to do over there with that. So yeah, we're pretty busy. Brent, next one. So prayer needs. You can read through all of this, but we really do need a faithful prayer team. Just remembering us, praying for us, and joining with us, and however you can do that or feel led to do that. We've been struggling as a school to get a head teacher that will not only start out well and stay involved for 2 or 3 months, but actually really be interested in the kids and be an example to the other teachers and things like that. And so, we call our school Integrity Primary School, and we called it that for a reason. And we really want to have the adults and the kids over there really exploring and what is this idea of integrity and how is that in a life? What does that mean? Getting the school fully registered, it's been a real process. They have all these steps that you have to go through, and I won't bore you with all that, but we need to get to a final registration step so that by the time we have P7, we can actually sit our kids down and administer tests, and so that when they graduate, they actually do get a real graduation certificate from P7. And
That's
their
7th grade.
7th grade, but their 7th graders would be the equivalent of probably an 11th grader here as far as education level. In the U.S. So they take classes, in physics and all kinds of stuff that you would probably have to take specific classes in high school to get that here. House parents. The first one, we have a lady there that has been our seamstress, and she's done some other things. So we have a little bit of a history with her. She's also been a house parent in the past, but we're going to need more of those as we keep going on that. We're also looking for a full-time pastor there. So we've had some volunteers, we've had some people coming and going. Hannington, who is our director on the ground there, my equivalent, he's out sometimes, but is not dedicated to that. That's not his area, and we really do want to have a pastor there that's focused on the village, focused on the people there, and would just be the right person and the right fit for that location. And we're also looking for Mzungus, so that would be y'all, white people type, or not necessarily that's what they call Mzungus, but anybody from the West that speaks English is a Mzungu. And so we're looking for a missionary-minded type of couple that could come alongside of us and help us. And obviously somebody that's probably not as old as us would be good. That's not quite as broken and in pain, those sorts of things. So, that can climb up into ceilings and get on roofs and doesn't mind crawling in ditches and things anymore. I just look at that and go, I don't want to do that. I've done it. So we are looking for a person to come over and help us in those types of areas, somebody that would have interest in the education side and helping teachers to be successful. Not going there to teach students, that's not the thing to do, but going there to help the adults to be successful in what they do, and also to help make things run over there, make things work, that kind of stuff. Very interested in that. Next one, Brett.
So what we need help with, we do need a prayer team. I know that, some people will pray while we're there or pray if I ask for it, but we really need people that will pray for us on a daily basis or weekly basis. So if God calls you to do that, I would really, really love that. After we get this girls' dorm up and running for a few months and they work out the bugs, then we're going to build the boys, literally work out the bugs. We're going to build the boys' dormitory. So it's going to be just like it. It'll be just as expensive, except some of the foundation work is already done, because they put in the ditch infrastructure. So it'll cost about $75,000 to do their bathroom and their dorm and the wall around it. Monthly support is always great because we've got expenses and got to pay teachers every month. Another thing we're doing that has really worked well is having classroom sponsors for $25 a month, because that helps us to buy textbooks. This is the first year we've had textbooks. All over Uganda, what they do is the teacher will get the lesson and write it in chalk on the chalkboard. Then each student copies the whole lesson into their book, and then they do it. So can you imagine how much teaching time that takes? So since we got a few classroom sponsors, we were able to purchase textbooks. This is the first time that our kids have been able to use a textbook. So we'd like to have at least 2 sponsors for each classroom so that we can get them textbooks every year. We don't have enough money to get them textbooks for every subject, but we're trying to get them textbooks at least for English. And one class we did science, one class we did math. The more sponsors we get for those classrooms, then the more textbooks we can get. And so if you want to donate, our website's up there, or you can send a check to our P.O. Box in Cle Elum. We appreciate any support we get, and we appreciate all of you guys for praying for us and supporting us.
And I, just a note, it's not just kind of as how we've done the ministry since the very beginning, 15 years now. We've kind of taken what I would say would be a Pauline approach to missions and ministry. In other words, we don't make any money, zero, off this ministry. And so the ministry doesn't pay for our travel, it doesn't pay for our food, it doesn't pay for our fuel, it doesn't pay anything while we're here or while we're in country. So 100% of donations that people make wind up going to Uganda. And the Lord has blessed us and has allowed us, through ourselves and also some members of our family, to be able to do that up to this point. And we will continue to do it that way until we can't. So the next
That's it.
thing,
Isn't it?
I think you had a thank you little
yeah.
video.
There's a cute video. I was trying to get these girls to say thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Smile. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Tell them to smile when they say it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, again, louder.
I don't think they're getting you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Seka. Seka you. Seka you.
Now, when she says seika, it means show your teeth. They don't really have a word for smile, so it's show your teeth. That's why they do some funny things like that. So anyway,
There's one more quick video. I looked outside my bedroom window, and one of the teacher's daughters was doing her chores. She's 5. And I had to go out and video it because she's 5. She's picking up her soap.
you hear the birds in the background
That's what you hear all day long.
day long.
Isn't she so serious? That was it. I just thought she was adorable.
Okay, thanks, Brent. And Dan, why don't you come back on up here? And we are getting ready to head off. I'll be here next week, but Kimberly will not. So you'll may see again real quick, but Kimberly, you won't. So pray for us when we're gone. Do follow us on Facebook. Find us, Kimberly Rogers Calhoun or John Calhoun, and you can see what's going on.
So we want to pray for them right now. So anybody would like to come up and join me? Just surround them here.
We're surrounded.
Lay hands on them. So Lord, we thank you so much for this couple and all that they do, having such an impact on so many lives over there in Uganda for the gospel and just to help these young people get an education and hopefully pull themselves and their families out of poverty and then lead others to you as well. So all these needs that they have presented here, we don't have time to go through each one, but you know them, Lord, and we commend them to you and ask that you would touch and meet their needs, and especially, Lord, for John and Kimberly, I pray that you'll touch their bodies. I know that this work is intense and difficult at times and very taxing, and so I pray that you will just give them some mercies in that area. John's back, Lord, that frequently flares up and limits him in what he can do. I pray that you'll touch him and just bring healing to him and continued strength to all of them, Lord, and just help in being able to accomplish these things that need to be accomplished. And also the finances, Lord, in order to make it happen. We just ask that you would be with them and bless them on this journey, that you would empower them, that you would give them a safe journey, and that you would just use them for your glory. Continue to use them for your glory, Father. We thank you for them in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
All right. All right, worship team.